Sasa na vituo vyako bora kabisa vya Capital Television na Capital Radio vinakupa ofa kabambe punguzo la bei kwenye matangazo yake. Kwa upande wa televisheni ni matangazo ni matangazo madogo, yani casual adverts. Ofa hii itaanza tarehe 1 mwezi Desemba hadi tarehe 30 mwezi Januari mwaka 2019. Karibu ufurahie ofa hii, ukuze biashara yako. Kwa maelezo zaidi wasiliana na idara ya masoko kwa simu namba 2775914 au 6 au nukushi 2775915 au barua pepe advertise@itv.co.tz.
Capital News tonight. President Magufuli directs previous pensions process be restored and used until 2023. Doctors combating Ebola in Beni, DRC, shocked by protesters invading their centers. Mao Zanzibar sports grounds completed and to be launched during Revolution celebrations. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. The President of Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, has today instructed that the previous process of the payment of retirees' pensions, which was being used before the combination of social security funds, should be restored and used until 2023. President Magufuli made the announcement during his meeting with the Trade Union Congress of Tanzania, TUCTA, participating associations, leading officials of the PSSF and NSSF, Social Security Fund Regulatory Association, SSRA, and the Association of Tanzania Employers, ATE. During the meeting, President Magufuli listened to views of leading officials present about the implementation of the Law of Social Security Funds for Public Sector Workers, number 2 of 2018, and its various regulations. The meeting was attended by the Chief Government Secretary, Ambassador John Kijazi, the Attorney General, Professor Adelaris Kilangi, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance and Planning, Mr. Dotto James, the Permanent Secretary in the Prime Minister's Office for Policy, House Affairs, Labour, Youth, Employment and People with Disabilities, Andrew Basawe, and the Permanent Secretary in the President's Office at State House, Dr. Moses Kusiluka.
Kustaafu sio dhambi. Na wala mtu anayestaafu kwa ajili ya kufanya kazi ni mtu anatakiwa kuheshimiwa.
To retire is not a sin, and anyone who retires after years in work must be respected, because he has served this nation and sacrificed for this nation. He is a hero. Retiring without having been fired is a big respect for this transition period so that we cannot frustrate employees. My call to the Social Security Fund is to reduce unnecessary expenditure. Thirdly, investments with no basis must not be allowed. Investments such as the one on Eco Village is not right. You cannot have such an investment using funds belonging to members without their consent, even though there is a board present, knowing very well that they will not get any return on their investment.
Wakati wanajua kabisa return zao hazitapatikana.
Government employees in Mwanza region have commended President Dr. John Magufuli for refusing the 25% calculation that had been a source of complaints by employees and returning the 50% amount that was being used before the social security funds were all joined together.
I retired in May 2019. So when I heard about the 25%, I did not sleep for a whole week and have not been able to work. Today it is clear that there is freedom in our country for people to express their opinions and to be listened. Workers have spoken, and today Honorable President has heard, together with the entire government, and we've seen the results. I ask my fellow workers to work hard and pay back the patriotism shown by the President.
After his meeting earlier today, this evening, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Magufuli, has revoked the appointment of the Director General of the Social Securities Regulatory Authority, SSRA, Dr. Irene Isaka. The appointment of another Director General of the SSRA will be conducted later, and Dr. Isaka will be relocated to other duties. A TPDF officer is being kept in detention on suspicion of having shot 2 people to death. Sergeant Batisin Samda of the Tanzania People's Defense Forces Chandarua camp in Songea town, Ruvuma region, is being held in police custody on suspicion of having shot these 2 people. The 2 people in question are his fellow army officer Sergeant Juma Mkele and a woman, Veronica Kayombo, who is alleged to have been his ex-wife. Speaking on the phone, Ruvuma Regional Police Commander RPC SAPC Gemini Mushi said that the officer is being charged with murdering the victims by using an SMG pistol which had been using during his work.
The accused, Veronica Kayombo, were murdered. The bodies of the victims have been preserved at Ruvuma Hospital waiting investigation. Investigation is ongoing to determine the cause of death.
Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has met with 15 ministers and permanent secretaries at the construction site of the government city in Mtumba, Dodoma region, and directed that ministers go to the construction locations of their offices to evaluate the capacity of the contractors, and if they are dissatisfied that the speed is low, then they should change them immediately.
Kuna maeneo ambayo yanahitaji usimamizi wa karibu.
There are areas that require special supervision as recognized in Ministerial Council. Honorable President insisted that deadline is to be 31st and today is the 28th. So clearly work cannot be completed by the 31st. So we need close supervision on all areas under construction by contractors. We must be the ones to supervise. I've asked TBA to move to this place and set a camp here. In case the contractor has reached a certain stage, then TBA will be able to go there immediately and certify.
Wale wagungaji wa kokoto wale. Zile kwari.
The people in charge of providing pebbles have closed for Christmas, despite the fact that they are already paid. The quarry management should get back to work.
Kwari zile.
Sisi wizara yetu tumetoa matransformer 9.
Our ministry has given 9 transformers so that we can supply electricity to the construction site, so work can carry on day and night. My request is that ministry should pay for service line, which is Tanzanian shillings 921,000. So far, we've received requests from 4 ministries.
Lorry drivers transporting cargo to various countries in the East African community have complained on lack of parking spots for their vehicles at Namanga Customs Center. Inspection procedures, which despite causing significant inconvenience, will also endanger their safety.
As you can see, the condition here in Longido, there is no washroom facilities or a place to board. We are not sure on the safety of our vehicles either.
Shida kubwa hapa ni choo hakuna.
There is no washroom in this place. The price on drinks is too high.
Malori yalikuwa yamejaa pale, takriban malori.
There were a lot of lorries at the border, so we moved them to Longido to give space for the construction of a parking area for lorries.
The government has begun to take pesticides and experts to 15 villages in Msalala Council, Kahama District, which had the problem of rats eating and destroying maize seeds as well as cotton in their farms in order to teach the farmers how to trap the rats. Some of the residents have expressed relief with the arrival of these experts and pledged to take into action the directives given, where some have claimed that they have replanted seeds 3 times in their farms with no success.
The poison used is intended to be used on farms to kill rodents and can poison anyone who uses it without following proper instructions. I've used over 2 sacks of rice, but I've not been successful. The experts came today and told us about poison which can rid off rats. One major challenge we face is there are not many people who participate. People don't take this seriously. If only a fraction of the population participates, it means that areas that are left behind could hinder the success of this project.
The Minister of State to the President's Office for Regional Administration and Local Government, Suleiman Jaffo, has directed that heads of departments and divisions involved in misappropriation of 2.98 billion shillings at Ulanga Council, Morogoro Region, be fired. They have also been alleged to be involved in invisible purchases within the council. Some of the officials include the council treasurer, Rajab Siriwa, who was transferred to Gairo, Tehama systems expert Yasin Galahenga, engineer David Kaijage, and former procurement officer Willie Ndabila, who has been transferred to Itilima.
Department heads were involved. Galahenga, engineer Kaijage, Willie Ndabila, who has been transferred to Itilima Council, and Rajab Siriwa has been transferred to Gairo Municipality. I asked them to be demoted and disciplinary measures to be taken against them.
Seed inspectors from the Tanzania Official Seed Certification Institute, TOSCI, have carried out an inspection of shops which sell agricultural inputs in Monduli, Karatu and Arusha districts. During this inspection, the seed inspectors closed down more than 25 shops which do not have permits. In addition, 8 traders have been banned from selling seeds after it was discovered that they have been selling low-quality seeds which are believed to be negatively affecting the crops of the farmers.
5 shops have been closed down. They are no longer allowed to sell seeds. Some have been served with a warning. My advice to traders dealing in seeds is not to see us as their enemy. We are here to educate them. They should follow the advice we give them on seeds.
Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner Paul Makonda has said that the government has given 8.5 billion shillings for the construction of abattoirs which have international standards in Vingunguti area. Commissioner Makonda said that construction of the abattoirs will begin next year. He made those remarks during a prize-giving ceremony for the best cows of TPDF officers and health centers. During the ceremony, he also said that when built, the top-class abattoirs will help in the slicing of quality meat, which also satisfy the requirements of the global market.
Yatawezesha tuuze nyama zetu ndani ya supermarket zilizoko ndani ya mkoa wa Dar es Salaam.
Slaughterhouses will enable us to sell meat in local supermarkets in Dar es Salaam and in our hotels. 85% of meat sold in supermarkets and big hotels come from outside the country, when we are the second largest producers in Africa.
Kagera Cooperative Union has succeeded in paying debts worth over 1.1 billion shillings that were being claimed by some farmers whose coffee was being collected on loan by the principal unions that make up the cooperative during the 2017-2018 purchasing season for coffee, and expects to pay all debts to service providers and the second payments to farmers before February of next year.
We hope that by next month outstanding debts will be paid and council taxes. Once we've sold the coffee, then we will be able to decide on how much more we shall be paid.
Chama cha KDC ilikuwa imekisiwa kusanya kilo za kahawa zipatazo milioni 40.
Estimated to harvest 40 million kilograms of coffee, but we've only been able to get 39.48 million, which is equivalent to 98.7%.
Residents of Mkomba Ward, Momba District in Songwe region have thanked the government for adding on 3 nurses to Mkomba Health Center, which previously had 1 nurse servicing over 500 people per day, and also used the opportunity to ask for help in completion of construction of maternity buildings as well as a laboratory, which has thus far been built by contributions from the public.
We commend the 5th phase government. Previously, we had 1 medical assistant, now we have 4. We are grateful. We have 1 small room used for delivery. There is no maternity room. There was no privacy. Local residents have contributed a lot towards the construction of Mkomba dispensary. We are ready to do the roofing, and we'd promise to provide iron sheets which are ready to be delivered.
Over 5 passengers as well as the driver of bus with plate numbers T584DFJ that conducts its trips from Simu 2000 to Bagala Rangitatu have escaped death immediately after the car lost direction and hit a bridge barrier in Songasi area Ubungo on Nelson Mandela Road, where construction of the flyover road is ongoing.
When the bus arrived here, there was another vehicle in front, so the driver had no other option than to sway this side. The bus was on the right-hand side and the lorry driver was on the left. He was squeezed out and was forced to go to the other side.
That's all for national news. International news is next. And in international news, doctors who are fighting against the Ebola virus in Beni and Butembo in the DRC have expressed shock at protesters invading their centers. The protest against the Electoral Commission Seni's move to stop residents of Beni and Butembo from taking part in the elections due to Ebola and insecurities have continued for 2 days.
Ebola tunazani imesha kuisha.
There is no more Ebola. People are saying so in order to scare others from voting. I ask if we can be allowed to vote on election day. They were throwing stones on patients, breaking doors.
As 2018 draws to a close, many Kenyans have complained about the difficult economic situation, with research conducted by TIFA in Nairobi revealing that high costs of living, lack of employment and poverty is the main reason for the complaints.
The year 2018 has been a bit hectic.
2018 was very hectic because of the political uncertainty. 2019 is starting with our economy not being stable. Despite the peace, there has been no economic growth. Life has become hard. Sometimes you find yourself with only 10 shillings in your pocket, but life goes on. The government should help. Security is not good.
Wale watu ambao wataendelea kucheza na mali ya umma,
All those guilty of embezzling public resources must know that their days are numbered.
na ni shida watapata.
Syrian pro-government forces have entered the key northern city of Manbij for the first time in 6 years. The Kurdish militia that control the area asked for help from the government amid fears that Turkish troops would launch a new offensive. Turkey considers the Kurdish YPG forces to be a part of a terrorist group, and the request by the US-backed Kurdish follows the shock announcement that all US troops are to withdraw from Syria. That's all for international news. We'll be back with sports after this break.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda. What's up? My name is Céline Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip hop, a hip it, the hip it, hip hip hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette. I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
With Sebastian.
With
Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And on to sports news. The construction of the Mau Zanzibar Sports Grounds has been completed, and it will be launched officially by the President of Zanzibar, Dr. Shein, next month during celebrations of 55 years of their revolution.
Pia kutakuwa kuna majengo ofisi yale ambayo tuliyoyaona.
There will be office buildings as well as a track field with a capacity to have up to 6 different games at once, such as basketball, handball and volleyball.
The leadership of the cycling union in Dar es Salaam, Chabada, has said they take pride in the success they have received since they entered into office in August of this year, which includes preparing various cycling competitions, and they also laid out their plans for 2019.
Dar es Salaam came first. For 2019, we are putting plans in place to ensure that Dar es Salaam brings competition to other regions. As you know, cycling was not a sport enjoyed by many people, but we hope to make it more popular.
Shinyanga Stand United has failed to continue its streak at their home ground, CCM Kambarage, and allowed for a 1-1 draw with Alliance FC from Mwanza.
We got 1 point. As you have seen, we played well, although towards the end we finished poorly. Challenges are there, but we've done our best, and we will do better in the future.
Andy Murray says he still has some pain in his hip, but is in a better place in the build-up to January's Australian Open than last year.
The Scot had hip surgery in January 2018, but ended his return in September to recover fully for the 2019 campaign. I need to play matches and see how it feels, said 31-year-old, a 5-time Australian Open runner-up. Last year when I came here, it was tough. I was struggling quite a lot, but it feels better than then. Murray was speaking to reporters before the Brisbane International, which begins on Monday and where he will be unseeded. The former world #1 returned to the ATP Tour in June following his operation, but withdrew from Wimbledon on the eve of the tournament and lost in the second round at the US Open on his return to Grand Slams.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring this bulletin for you, thank you for watching and have a good night.